Remember the first time you got your heart broken? When someone you loved didn't love you back? When a relationship you thought would last forever just ended? When you realized that doing everything right still wasn't enough to make someone choose you? Disney never prepared you for that in any of its media, because in Disney, the hero always gets the girl. Grand gestures work. Love conquers all. If you're brave enough, kind enough, persistent enough, you win. But Adventure Time? Adventure Time said, what if you do everything right and she still doesn't love you? What if your first real relationship falls apart and it's your fault? What if the person you're obsessed with will never see you in the same way and you have to learn to be okay with it? For 10 seasons, Adventure Time told the love story Disney refuses to tell. Not the one where you find your soulmate and you live happily ever after. The one where you get rejected, make mistakes, survive heartbreak, and somehow have to figure out who you are when the fairy tale doesn't happen. One taught us to wait for love to complete us and that it would happen and it's inevitable. The other taught us to complete ourselves and that the journey takes time. So which show's creators actually understand how love works, and which one left us completely unprepared for what love actually feels like? Let's start by talking about Disney's most popular movies and how they establish their core philosophy right away. Take Beauty and the Beast, for example. On the surface, it's about looking beyond appearances, which is a great message. But let's be real about what's actually happening here. The Beast is cursed, literally cursed, and the only thing that can save him, the only thing, is someone falling in love with him. Belle's love isn't there to make him happy or make his life better or make her life better than it already is. It's to cure him, transform him from monster to prince, from broken to whole again. The message? The right person can fix what's fundamentally broken in you. They can tame your beast. And before you say, but Belle does teach him to be better, sure, but the story still ends with love being the magic solution to something. The curse breaks the moment she says,
I love you.
Not when he becomes a better person, not when he earns redemption through changed behavior, when someone loves him because of that changed behavior. Also, we're just going to gloss over the fact that she falls for her captor after a few months. Stockholm Syndrome aside, their entire relationship develops in isolation from the real world without its challenges, which is not really how healthy relationships work. But that's Disney's first core belief. Love is salvation. The right person, the right match saves you from yourself. Just like Snow White, who meets a prince for maybe 30 seconds, sings one song to him, and that's it. Their entire relationship is built on an unconsensual kiss that wakes her from death. Ariel watches a guy on a boat, decides she's in love, and trades her voice, her literal identity, for a chance to be with someone she's never spoken to. This is the foundation. Feel something instant and overwhelming and this powerful desire. Sacrifice everything and get your happily ever after as a reward. And look, I'm not trying to ruin your childhood here. These movies are iconic for a reason, and they're great movies, but they do establish a pattern that Disney would repeat for decades, even in their more sophisticated films. Now, Frozen tried to be clever about this. Spoilers, Hans is the twist villain, the handsome prince who seems perfect but turns out to be manipulative. It took the philosophy we knew and turned it upside down. Don't marry someone you just met, you don't know them. Except, then Anna and Kristoff fall in love in like 3 days. The movie criticizes love at first sight, then does slightly less instant love and treats it as completely different because it started as friendship-based love and they went through a journey. It's Disney trying to evolve while fundamentally misunderstanding the criticism. And what breaks Elsa's curse in the end? What saves the day? Anna's act of true love, sacrificing herself for her sister. The movie subverts romantic love, sure, but it still ends with love as the magic force that fixes everything. It reinstates love as the ultimate solution. It conquers curses, it breaks spells, saves kingdoms. Then there's Hercules. The guy literally gives up being a god for Meg, pretty similar to Ariel's sacrifice. He's got it all: immortality, Mount Olympus, unlimited power! But then he throws it all away for a woman he's known for maybe a week? And the movie frames this as the most romantic thing imaginable. Again, the message is that real love means you sacrifice everything for them: your dreams, your identity, your entire destiny. If you're not willing to give it up, it's not really love. Oh, and then he gets his godhood back anyway because Disney can't commit to actual consequences. Love requires ultimate sacrifice, but don't worry, you'll get everything back in the end. That's the happy ending after all. Hercules told the audience that grand gestures prove love. The bigger the sacrifice, the more real the love. All of these stories share the same core beliefs. Love strikes like lightning. You meet someone and you just know. Love completes you. You're not whole until you find your other half. Love transforms you. The right person fixes what's broken, saves you from darkness from the outside, makes you who you're meant to be. Obstacles are external. Curses, villains, family disapproval. These are what keep love apart. Once you overcome them, you're golden. And most importantly, the story ends when the couple gets together, and the happily ever after is never shown. Credits roll at the wedding, at the kiss, at the moment of commitment. We never see year 2. We never see them arguing about whose turn it is to do the dishes. We never see the relationship actually being tested by the boring, difficult reality of two imperfect people trying to build a life together. Disney perfected the art of showing us love's beginning, the spark, the magic, the rose-colored glasses. What they never show us is what happens when the magic wears off and you're outside of Disneyland and you're just two people who have to choose each other every single day. And that's where Adventure Time comes in and fixes that. Adventure Time did something radical for a kids show. For 10 seasons, through Finn's journey from a naive 12-year-old to a mature young adult, the show built a completely different philosophy about how love actually works. Not how we wish it worked, how it actually does. Let's start with the relationship that defines the first part of the series, Finn and Princess Bubblegum. Finn is in love with her from episode 1. Deeply, painfully, obviously in love. And he does everything right. He's brave, he's constantly saving her kingdom, he's loyal, always there when she needs him, he's kind, he's funny, he's genuine. By every Disney metric, he's earned her love. But Princess Bubblegum just doesn't feel that way about him. Not because of a curse, not because a villain is keeping them apart, not because of bad timing. She just doesn't. She cares about him deeply, don't get me wrong. She sees him as one of her closest friends and confidants, but romantically? No. And the show doesn't villainize her for this. It doesn't frame her as cold or broken or not ready or wrong in some way. She's just a person who doesn't have romantic feelings for another person. That's it, and it's fine. For a kid's show to spend multiple seasons showing its hero getting rejected by the woman he loves, sometimes showing that he's getting false hope, like when they're both 13 and it still doesn't go his way, that's brutal, that's honest, that's real. That's the thing Disney would never do because it breaks the fundamental promise. The hero gets the girl. But in our opinion, that's exactly what sets Adventure Time apart. Finn has to learn the hardest lesson any of us learn. Ultimately, you can't earn love from someone. You can't do enough good deeds, perform enough heroic acts, be devoted enough to someone to make them love you back. Love isn't a transaction. It doesn't owe you anything. A person chooses to love you. In Hercules, giving up godhood wins Meg's heart. In Adventure Time, saving the princess a few hundred times doesn't change how she feels. That's just how it works. That's just who she is. So Finn finally learns to move on. And then he gets his first real sense of a relationship with Flame Princess.
Oh no.
Finally, requited love. Someone who actually likes him back and loves him as well. This should be the happy ending forever that he deserves, right? Except Finn isn't ready. He's immature, he's jealous, he's possessive, and he's still carrying a lot of baggage. In one of the show's most uncomfortable episodes, he literally manipulates Flame Princess and Ice King into fighting each other just to see what will happen.
I have to get Flame Princess to beat down Ice King again.
He treats his girlfriend like an experiment. He lies directly to her face, and when she finds out, she rightfully breaks up with him. But it's devastating, because we've seen Finn grow up. We've seen how PB would treat his love. We want him to be happy, and we want them to get along. And the couple really does seem perfect for each other. But the show doesn't let him off the hook. The relationship fails because of his choices, his dishonesty, his immaturity. Flame Princess has her own issues too, her anger, her volatility, her struggle with control. they're both broken in different ways, they both need time to grow, and their love didn't fix that for them. This is the anti-Beauty and the Beast. Love or another person doesn't transform you into a better person. It can reveal who you actually are, and sometimes it reveals that you're not ready for them, that you have work to do, that you can genuinely love someone and still be completely wrong for each other. The real growth happens after the breakup. Finn spends a lot of time processing what happened in a real way, no magic fix or one-day redemption, an actual arc that built his character. All because losing love forced him to look at himself honestly. Then there's Marceline and Princess Bubblegum. And if you want to see what mature, complicated love actually looks like and how it develops, this is it. They have history, centuries of it. They were together once, back when Ooo was still being rebuilt after the Mushroom War. And then something went wrong. Something broke between them that left real, long-lasting damage. The show gives us pieces of what happened. Bubblegum getting consumed by her responsibility as ruler, Marceline feeling left out. And they don't just get over it because they still have feelings for each other. They can't. They're both different people now. Marceline has walls built from that abandonment and her other relationships. Bubblegum has walls built from the weight of keeping an entire kingdom alive. It takes seasons of careful moments, slowly rebuilding trust, learning to communicate, setting boundaries, apologizing for old hurts, becoming different people before they can try again. When they finally get back together in the finale, it's love built on the ruins of what they had, wiser, messier, earned through years of individual growth. This is what Frozen tried to do with Anna forgiving Elsa instantly, but real reconciliation doesn't happen in one grand gesture all the time. It can happen really slowly and painfully through 100 small choices to be vulnerable again to the other person. And then Adventure Time goes dark, really dark. Simon and Betty's relationship is a tragedy disguised as a love story, and it might be the most important relationship in the entire series because it shows what happens when love becomes your entire identity. Simon has found the magic crown. It's driving him insane, slowly eroding who he is. And Betty travels through some time hole 1,000 years into the future, sacrificing everything to try to save him. She gives up her research, her career, her entire life. And it doesn't work. Simon stays the Ice King for the most part. His mind continues to fracture. He forgets Betty entirely, but the obsession with women and princesses remains. He keeps looking for his princess, but he doesn't know why. In the end, when the curse is actually reversed, it took Betty's life to fix it. There is no happy ever after. This is the anti-Disney message taken to its darkest conclusion. Anna sacrificing herself for Elsa works because it's immediate, it's temporary. Betty sacrificing herself for Simon is permanent, irreversible, and doesn't save anyone. What if the Beast had stayed a beast? What if Belle wasted her entire life trying to cure him? What if Ariel was rejected and still lost her voice? What if Snow White just didn't wake up? That would have been a boring movie for sure. A.T.'s philosophy really comes together through Finn's complete journey. Season 1 through 2, he's desperate for Princess Bubblegum's validation. His self-worth is entirely tied to whether she loves him back. Season 3 to 5, first real relationship with Flame Princess. First real heartbreak when he sabotages it through his own immaturity. Season 6 through 7, depression, listlessness. He loses his arm, a literal physical manifestation of loss. He's stuck. He doesn't know who he is without the quest for love defining him. And then, slowly, something shifts. Season 8 onwards, he isn't actively looking for love anymore to complete him. He's just himself. But it's the most important line in the series. Finn stops seeking completion through someone else. He starts building a life that feels meaningful on its own. By the final seasons, he has a thing with Huntress Wizard. But it's different now. There's no obsession, there's no desperation, no I need you to complete me energy. They're both whole people who enjoy each other's company and are still independent. The hero's journey doesn't end with him finding his princess. It ends with him becoming someone who doesn't need a princess to be happy. This is the thing Disney never shows. the protagonist growing into someone who is complete on their own, where self-love is the actual victory, not the consolidation prize before you meet your real soulmate that is destined to you. And then there's Jake and Lady Rainicorn. The relationship the show never focuses too much on because it's already established by the time we see them together, already functional, already past the Disney ending. Lady gets frustrated with Jake. He avoids difficult conversations sometimes. They have to actually work through some stuff. They have to talk. They have 5 kids, and their relationship changes under that pressure. It's not the same as when they first met or when they first dated and fell in love, perhaps. It's deeper in many ways and harder in some other ways. But they still constantly choose and love each other. Through the boring parts, through the frustrating parts, through the 1,000th diaper change and the 1,000,000th small disagreement. There is no episode about Jake sacrificing godhood or his powers or part of his identity for Lady. No curse to break, no dramatic gesture, besides just 2 people who have been together for years, still figuring it out, still choosing each other when it would be easier sometimes not to. So that's what Adventure Time believes love really is. A skill and a connection that you develop, a choice you make daily. Something that reveals your flaws for you to work on instead of fixing them. Something that can be beautiful and also can sometimes end. Something that requires you to be a whole person on your own first. But to be fair to Disney, they have been trying to evolve. We don't want to pretend Disney has learned nothing in the past decade. They have been trying. And to their credit, some of their recent films show genuine evolution in how they think about love and relationships. Moana just doesn't have a romantic love story. At all. Her complete story is kind of similar to Finn's. She's gotta find herself, her purpose, her identity, and it's not through romance. The fact that this felt revolutionary when it came out in 2016 tells you everything about how rare this was for Disney. A princess movie where the princess doesn't end up with anyone or become the prize or end up with Mr. Handsome. Oh, and yes, she is a princess as of 2019. I don't know who crowned her. Let's take one last look at another Disney movie that did love the right way. Up. Carl and Ellie seem to have the perfect life together. They're made for each other. They are sadly unable to have a child even though they desperately want one. But that's the reality of life and love sometimes. Then they grow older, they live together, they live life happily with each other. And then Ellie gets sick. There's no magic cure, they're elderly. Ellie passes, leaving Carl behind as a grumpy old man who no longer has any joy in his life. The happy ever after ended at the start of the movie, and we get to see what happens after that. That's something painfully real. Now, it's true, Adventure Time had years to develop Finn's story over an entire series of cartoons, to show the full arc from naive kid to mature adult, to let relationships fully breathe and fail and evolve. You can't really do that in a 90-minute movie so well. The format itself demands a different kind of storytelling. So some of this isn't necessarily a fair comparison, although it does reflect the innermost messages that they're attempting to convey. Adventure Time did have the luxury of time, and with that comes the flexibility and ability to show nuance, the complexity, and the boring parts, the aftermath, as well as being able to end an episode with a cliffhanger or a sad moment. In a movie, that would leave a lot of theater goers with a weird feeling, so you can't fault Disney for not doing in one film what took Adventure Time a decade. But Disney has proven that they can do this when they really want to, just like they did in Up. The majority of the time, though, they just don't, because that's not what the brand is about. Disney is about the dream, the romance, the magic, the promise that love is the answer, and showing the hard, boring, complicated reality of long-term partnership doesn't serve that brand. Which is fine, that's their lane, I guess. So, which one really understands love better? Well, honestly, that's for you to decide. You determine what love looks like for you, right? Don't listen to a random YouTube video. If you need hope that love is this goal that is worth pursuing in someone and something that you desire and that beautiful things are still possible and magical, Disney does give you that, and that matters. Especially when the world feels bleak nowadays, when you've been hurt before, when cynicism often feels safer than belief and faith in someone. Sometimes we need the reminder that love can be extraordinary. If you perhaps need resilience and to learn to be okay alone and to learn how to figure out why your relationships are failing and how to grow yourself, Adventure Time gives you that. It tells you the truth that Disney won't. You and others will probably get hurt. Relationships can end. The world isn't fair. And you'll survive it. You'll learn from it. You'll become whole anyway. What both shows ultimately understand and portray in their own ways is that love, in its many forms, is really important to living a fulfilled, complete life. Just like leaving a like and comment on this video and subscribing.
If you want to see what mature and healthy love actually looks like, check out our video on when Finn finds love again. It's the most viewed one for a reason. Also, check out the inspiration for this video in the channel description. Miguel's got a great video on how Ghibli shows love compared to Disney, so if that's what you're into, make sure you give that a watch as well. And when you're there, make sure to leave us a like, a comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.